This training module will cover an overview of the biomes and caTissue applications, the interactions between the two applications from the perspective of the CRAs and biorepository staff. Prior to coordinators collecting specimens and biorepositories receiving specimens, the following actions will occur. Once a study is approved by the protocol office, the study is built in biomes. At the completion of the study being built, information about the specimens collected is synced to the biorepositories through caTissue. Now let's meet the staff for today's demonstration. Jane is the patient coordinator at Washington University, and she will be using the BioMS application. Susan and Tom work at Ohio State in the PCO biorepository, and they will be using the caTissue application. Now let's start from the beginning. Jane meets with the patient and consents the patient to participate in CalGB 40603. The patient also agrees to participate in the companion studies. Jane logs into Open, registers the patient to both the main study in CalGB 40603 and its companion studies, CalGB 150709 and CalGB 60703. The patient is assigned study number A11175. According to the study, it states that the patient is to have their blood drawn and tissue specimens collected. For today's demonstration, we're just going to focus on the blood specimens collected under the companion study 60703. Once the specimens have been collected, Jane will log into BioMS to record that these specimens have been collected. Jane will log into the BioMS application using her CTAP information and password. And then clicking I agree and log in. Once logged into BioMS, Jane selects to log specimens. A patient can be searched for in three methods: the registration ID, the patient's initials, or the study ID. We're going to use the patient's registration ID. Once the patient's registration ID is entered, click Search. BioMS then displays information about the patient's initials, the registration ID, and the studies that the patient has been enrolled in. Double-click on the patient's initials. Jane selects the appropriate tab to record that the specimens have been collected. In this case, Jane will select Pre-Therapy 60703. Once the tab has been selected, the specimens that will be collected will be displayed under this tab. If Jane needs more information about the specimen, she can click on the specimen title. Once clicked on, it will display more information about the specimen to be collected, including the specimen preparation instructions and shipping instructions. If there are mandatory form questions to be answered, a red exclamation point will be displayed next to the clipboard icon. This clipboard icon can also be used to leave specimen comments. If Jane is unable to collect the specimen, she will click on the Specimen Not Collected icon, and then select the appropriate response. Once the response has been selected, she will click on Save. If Jane needs to recollect a specimen, she can do this by selecting the Recollect icon. As you can see, the status of our specimen is currently listed as pending. Let's collect the specimen. This can be done by clicking on the checkbox. Once the box has been marked, the current date and time will be displayed. If this field needs to be changed, it can be done so by clicking on the box. Jane now can click to save the specimen. Once she has clicked on Save Specimen, the status of the specimen will be updated from pending to collected. We are now ready to ship the specimen. This can be done by clicking on Add to Shipments. As you can see, Jane's specimens are not displayed in the current view. Remember, Jane's patient is enrolled in the main study CalGB 40603, and according to this protocol, under the main study there are no specimen requirements, so Jane needs to click on Manage Shipments. Once Jane clicks on Manage Shipments, on the left side of the screen, all the specimens that are marked as collected but have not yet been shipped for her institution are displayed. On the right side of the screen are all the shipments that are in transit or waiting to be shipped. Specimens that are in transit, the box is shown with a closed icon. Specimen boxes that have not yet been shipped are shown with an open icon. Let's ship our specimen. This is done by Jane selecting the appropriate specimen from the specimens listed on the screen, and then selecting the green arrow to place it into a shipping container. BioMS then will look at the requirements for that specimen and see if there are any open packages the specimen can be added to, and if there are not, it will create a new shipment. In this case, it has created a new shipment for us, shipment ID 31396. We select the radio button and we select Send. The shipping manifest will now be created. Jane will select her site and she will enter her phone number. She will select the received contact, the carrier, and enter the tracking number. And finally select the date. On the shipping manifest, it will list the specimen ID, the type of specimen, the patient's study number and initials, the study, and the epoch, arm, and collection point event for that specimen. Jane now clicks Send Shipment. Once the shipment has successfully been shipped, Jane will now print the shipping manifest in order to pack this with the specimens. Now that Jane has printed her packing slip, she will place that packing slip inside the shipment container with the specimens. Behind the scenes, there are many interactions taking place. Once Jane has registered the patient in Open sends a message to Biome registering the patient in BioMS. Also, when Jane has recorded that she has collected the specimens, Biome sends a message to caTissue indicating that the specimens have been collected and the shipment will be arriving. The specimen package is now picked up by UPS in St. Louis and then flown to Ohio. Once the package arrives in Ohio in the PCO biorepository, Susan and Tom receive that package. They open the package, remove the specimens, and remove the packing slip. Tom will now log into caTissue to record that the specimens have been received and all processes done to the specimen. Tom now logs into caTissue using his assigned login ID and password. Once this information has been entered, Tom clicks on Login. Once logged into caTissue, Tom selects Biospecimen Data. From the Biospecimen Data tab, he will select Shipping and Tracking. Next, Tom clicks on Shipments to view all incoming shipments. From the packing slip received, Tom selects the appropriate shipment. This can be done by selecting the label. Once the label has been clicked on, specimen details are displayed. The specimen has now been given a specimen label. Next, Tom needs to update the received quality of the specimen, and then click Submit. Once Tom has clicked Submit, the shipment will be cleared from the queue of shipments. Next, Tom will click on Biospecimen Data and select Collection-Based Protocol View. Tom can now record more information about the specimens that he's received and what derivatives and aliquots will be made. First, Tom will select the collection protocol. After selecting the collection protocol, Tom will then select the appropriate patient. Once the patient has been selected, he selects the appropriate epoch, arm, and specimen collection group. On the specimen collection group page, Tom needs to update the collection site and verify it's appropriate, and then update the collection status. If all specimens are received, he marks complete. Next, Tom wants to show that the Buffy coat and DNA that are required to be made from this whole blood sample are going to be collected. In the specimen tree, you can see the anticipated specimens that are going to be collected. To collect these specimens, Tom now wants to do specimen entry based on collection protocol. Once this box has been marked, he checks Submit. On this page, Tom now can indicate that he's going to collect the derivative specimens and the aliquots, and he will verify the storage location of those aliquots. Once this has been done, he clicks on Submit. In the specimen tree, we can now see that each of the derivatives and aliquots have been received and collected. caTissue now sends a message back to BioMS indicating that the specimen was received and updates information about the derivatives and aliquots that were collected from that specimen. Jane, our coordinator, can now log back into BioMS and look to see the status of her specimen. She can do this by clicking on Log Specimens, searching for her patient, selecting the patient and clicking Search, clicking on the patient's initials, selecting the appropriate tab, and we can now see that that specimen was received and was acceptable.